The movie begins as we meet Millie Calloway, a homeless young woman who was recently released from prison, and she is desperate to find anyone that will hire her. She has an interview at the Winchester house for a housemaid position, and when she arrives, it is a huge mansion, and she herself doubts she will get the job once they find out about her past. We meet Nina Winchester, who comes outside to greet Millie and is very polite, and shows her around the house, and tells her what the job will entail. It is a live-in position, and Millie says that is perfectly fine with her. Nina says it is just her husband Andrew Winchester, and then their 7-year-old daughter Cece Winchester. Nina tells Millie she's expecting another child soon, and that's why she needs the extra help around the house. Nina also shows Millie the attic room, where Millie would be sleeping, and it's a super small bedroom at the top of the house with one tiny window. When Millie leaves, she's almost certain Nina won't hire her once she does a background check. But she is proven wrong the following day when Nina calls and offers her the job. When she arrives back to their house, she sees a groundskeeper working, but he gives her the cold shoulder when she asks for help opening the gate. When Millie goes inside, the place is trashed, and Nina says she has to work on a PDA speech, so she leaves Millie to clean up the house. Andrew and Cece walk in, and Andrew is completely unaware Nina was hiring a housemaid, so he is a little shocked to see a stranger in his house, but he just goes with it. When Millie goes upstairs, she is confused why the lock to the attic would be from the outside, so she asks Nina if she can get a new lock put in, and Nina says she'll get it done right away. Nina then hands Millie a new phone they got for her. In the morning, Millie hears commotion, and when she goes downstairs, Nina is going batshit crazy because she can't find her PDA speech notes, and she thinks Nina threw them away. Thankfully, Andrew walks in and calms her down. That night, Millie is in her room looking at social media pictures of Andrew. That Saturday, Millie meets with her probation officer, and the officer tells her she needs to keep this job to stop from going back to jail. After she leaves, Nina calls her and tells her to pick up Cece from ballet class. But when Millie gets there, Cece says she is going home with her friend, and Nina already knew this. Millie is confused why Nina would send her to pick up Cece if she already had plans. That night, Millie is having trouble sleeping, so she goes down into the theater to watch Family Feud, but then Andrew walks in as well and sits down to watch with her. And then it gets really awkward when Nina walks in on them, but Andrew just said they couldn't sleep. After Andrew goes back upstairs, Nina tells Millie to stay away from her husband. Throughout the next week, Millie continues writing in her journal, talking about how crazy she thinks Nina is. When Nina and Andrew go out for a date night, Millie sneaks into their bathroom and sees crazy pills that are prescribed to Nina. When Andrew and Nina get back, Nina is bawling her eyes out, and Millie knows they are fighting about something. She just hopes it isn't her. Andrew asks to talk to Millie in the kitchen, and he tells her that Cece isn't his biological daughter, but he raised her. He also says he wants children of his own, but Nina hasn't been able to get pregnant again, and he thinks it's why she's been so erratic recently. That night, Millie hears more commotion downstairs, and when she goes to check it out, she finds Nina with a crazy look on her face and a bloody shard of glass. Millie is worried about Andrew, but then he walks out and tells Millie it was a misunderstanding and to go back to bed. If you feel like watching this movie someday, the title is in the comments under the video. The following day, Nina apologizes to Millie and gives her a bunch of dresses that don't fit her and says they're hers. Nina then asks Millie to book her and Andrew a romantic overnight getaway that weekend. Millie is confused why she won't do it herself, but says she'll get it done. Later that day, at Cece's ballet class, another nanny there tells Millie that Nina spent a few months in a psych ward about a year ago for trying to drown Cece in the bathtub. When they get back to the Winchester house, Millie asks the caretaker, Enzo, what he knows about the Winchesters, but all he says is that she shouldn't be there. Nina then walks outside, and she's upset with Millie for booking the romantic getaway that Saturday night, as she will be out of town. Millie tries explaining that Nina literally asked her to do so, but Nina denies saying any such thing. Nina yells at Millie that the tickets will come out of her paycheck, but Andrew says not to worry about it. He'll pay for the tickets. That Saturday, Nina leaves with Cece, and they go out of town for a retreat, but Andrew has to stay in town for work. Andrew tells Millie, since they have the tickets anyway, they should go to the musical together. Millie gets ready, and she wears one of the dresses Nina gave her. They have a great time, and we all knew it was coming. They end up having sex in their hotel room. The following morning, Andrew tells Millie Nina can never find out, and they both agree it was a one-time thing. But when they get to the house, they go round two. Nina gets back later that day, and while they're sitting around the dining table, Nina asks Millie if she learned how to cook in prison, and Andrew is shocked. So Nina did her research on Millie and still hired her. Nina then asks Millie if she'll go to the store to grab a few things, and she tells Millie to take her car. But when Millie leaves the store, the cops arrest her because the car was reported stolen. Andrew then arrives and tells the cops it was. This isn't just the content. It's my time, my heart, and honesty. If it's touched you even once, please subscribe and help me keep going. A misunderstanding. And on the way back to the house, Millie apologizes for not telling Andrew about her time in prison. She made a mistake in high school, and it cost her 10 years of her life. When they get to the house, Nina tells them she knows they hooked up, and an argument breaks out between Andrew and Nina. And it ends with Andrew telling Nina to get out of his house. Millie asks Nina if she wants help packing her things, and Nina slaps her and leaves. She starts crying uncontrollably at the entrance gate. Inside, Andrew tells Millie he wants her to stay. And then we get a montage of them getting close together over the next few days. One morning, Millie is in the kitchen, and she is frightened when she sees Enzo outside looking at her. So, she drops a tray of food, and then Andrew walks in and fires Enzo. The plate that dropped was special china Andrew's mom gave him. But Millie says she will fix it and put it back together, but she forgets to do it. And when Andrew gets home, he takes her up to the attic room to hook up. When she wakes the following morning, she is confused to find herself locked in the attic room. And Andrew says he'll let her out when she's learned her lesson. We then cut back to Nina when she was crying at the entrance gate, but her cries turn into laughter when she realizes she's finally free. She goes to celebrate in a hotel room and burns a picture of Andrew in the sink. She then narrates her life story and how a law school professor was the guy who got her pregnant but refused to be in Cece's life. She got a receptionist job at a law firm, and this is where she met Andrew, and they hit it off right away. Similar to Millie and Andrew, they got married 6 months later. But then he started getting upset with her when the roots in her hair were showing, and she didn't really think much of it at the time. He asked her to go grab something from the attic, but when she went in the room, he showed up and locked her in. Andrew tells Nina her hair is a privilege and needs to be taken care of, and she was failing to do that, so he is punishing her. Nina said she'll get her roots fixed right away, but he keeps her locked in the attic. Andrew says she has to pluck 100 strands of her hair out of her head, with the hair follicles still attached, and he'll let her out. Nina spent days inside the attic until she finally decided to pull the hair out of her head, and he let her out. He drugged a water bottle he gave her, and after passing out and waking up, she heard the bath water running, with Cece drowning in it, and the police showed up right at the time, making it look like she tried drowning Cece. And this is what sent her to the psych facility. Nina knew the only way she could go home was if she played Andrew's game, as he had all the power. He could send her back to the hospital whenever he wanted. Nina lived under his house, under his rules, until she could find a way to get her and Cece away from Andrew for good. And she even entrusted Enzo to help her. Nina thought about running away, but she knew Andrew would find a way to catch her. She came up with the idea to find a way to get Andrew to leave her, so she and Cece could go start fresh somewhere else, without having to worry about Andrew putting her back into the psych ward. This is where Millie comes into the equation. Nina hired Millie so Andrew would fall for her, and she could be free of him. Back to the present, and Andrew tells Millie how his mother's china was very valuable to him, and he can't replace it, and that's why he's punishing her. Andrew tells Millie if she wants to get out of the attic, she has to carve 21 deep lines into her stomach with a piece of the broken china. Millie rethinks her life decisions, and then we find out why she went to prison. She was at a boarding school and saw one of the boys trying to take advantage of her friend, so she grabbed a paperweight and beat the boy to death. Millie was then sentenced to 15 years for. This isn't just the content. It's my time, my heart, and honesty. If it's touched you even once, please subscribe and help me keep going. Manslaughter, and she's served 10. Millie wants out of the attic, so she starts carving the lines into her stomach. Elsewhere, Nina is eating with Cece, and Cece tells her mother they should go back to get Millie, and they shouldn't leave her there to get abused like she was. Nina is finally free and doesn't want to go back. At the Winchester house, Andrew walks into the attic and tells Millie she did a great job and she can come out now. Millie then stabs him with the china she used on her stomach and sprints out of the attic and is able to lock him in this time. Millie goes downstairs and grabs all of Andrew's mother's china and brings it back up to the attic. Millie slides pliers underneath the door, and she tells Andrew to pull out his front tooth, and she's going to break all the china until he does so. He actually does it, but Millie says she'll come back in the morning, which pisses him off. She goes downstairs to watch TV in the theater, but then Nina arrives back at the house. Nina sees the attic light on, and she assumes Andrew probably has Millie locked up there. Nina goes up to the attic and unlocks the door, and Andrew is able to escape, and he starts attacking the girls. A long, drawn-out fight sequence happens, but it ends with Millie pushing Andrew to his death from the very top of the staircase. Nina drops a light bulb, and she's going to try and make it look like Andrew fell, trying to change a light bulb. Nina tells Millie to leave because she didn't deserve any of this, and she doesn't want the police to think Millie killed again. The police arrive, and Nina is interviewed by a cop who is skeptical of Nina's story. But the cop apparently knew Andrew, as he dated her sister many years ago, so she is completely fine with the light bulb story, knowing he was abusive. A few days later, Andrew's funeral is held, and it's insinuated that Andrew's mom used to lock him up for breaking the rules too, and that's probably where he learned it. Millie shows up at the funeral, and Nina sneaks her a check for $100,000 that she got from Andrew's life insurance policy. The movie ends with Millie interviewing for another housemaid opening, and this woman told her Nina recommended Millie, and she may be dealing with an abusive husband too. And that's why Nina said Millie was the girl for the job. And that is it for The Housemaid. Hoping we get a sequel to this one, because the original book series is a trilogy, and this one was such a banger. But thanks for watching.